Hey everyone, Dr. Michael Lenz here again. Today we're reacting to a bold and compelling presentation by Dr. Kelly Casperson, a urologist advocating for FDA approval of female dose testosterone, a message she passionately delivered on behalf of millions at the FDA expert panel in July of 2025.
Our next presenter is Dr. Kelly Casperson. I'm Dr. Kelly Casperson. I have no disclosures. Your high-functioning older sister breaks a hip, as 1 in 6 American women will. 30% will die, and only half fully recover. But in 2025, a study showed women given a female dose of a safe, inexpensive drug were 50% less likely to need a cane or a walker 6 months after a hip fracture. Wouldn't you want her to have access to that amazing medication? That medication, testosterone, was first developed in 1935. 90 years later, your sister still can't get it. Thank you to the FDA, Dr. Marty McCary and Dr. Sarah Brenner, for allowing me to speak on behalf of the 108 million American women. I am a urologist, and I care for all genders. In my clinic, I prescribe testosterone, an FDA-approved, naturally occurring hormone, covered by insurance. But all of those prescriptions, they're for men. In fact, 1 in 5 men are diagnosed with hypogonadism, a condition where their bodies stop making enough testosterone. Nearly all women experience the same hormone decline when they live long enough. Men have more than a dozen FDA-approved formulations. But when a woman asks for the same hormone, I have to tell her, there's no FDA-approved dose for you. The FDA is failing women by denying access to a hormone their bodies naturally produce. The ovaries and the adrenals make testosterone. Testosterone's stereotype is that it's just for libido. It's a half-truth. It's a neurohormone, critical for mitochondria, nerve function, muscle, bone, and brain function. Libido improved because dopamine and blood flow in the brain improve. Here's pictures of the brain lighting up with some of your work. Thank you. The FDA has rejected 2 attempts at female dose testosterone, not because the products didn't work, but because they cited insufficient safety data, a legacy of the WHI backlash. But testosterone has been used in women since the 1940s, and trans men receive 10 times the dose. What other drug do we have where we give people 10 times the dose for 50 years and publish it, and then we're still asking if it's safe? Meanwhile, male testosterone products were approved with just 6 months of safety data. That is not a lack of evidence. It's a regulatory and equity failure. With no FDA-approved product, insurance won't cover it. Women are forced to microdose male products, justify their prescriptions at the pharmacy, or pay cash for higher dose, less regulated pellets. Despite these barriers, as many women as men in America take testosterone. And I've seen what happens when they do. They start businesses. One said, "My math is back." Another, "The German I learned as a kid has come back." And my favorite, you know that scene from The Wizard of Oz where it goes from black and white to Technicolor? That's my brain on testosterone. We can't dismiss this as a lifestyle drug for women who know the secret handshake. Dementia is the 5th leading cause of death in women. An autopsy study showed that higher brain testosterone correlated with less dementia. 1 in 4 midlife women in America are on antidepressants, despite the risk of bone loss and reduced libido. New data shows more women can come off their SSRIs by adding testosterone than by just using estrogen alone. 4 countries, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and the UK, have government-approved female dose testosterone, but only for low sexual desire. That forces women to justify treatment based upon sexual function, an already stigmatized issue that insurance often doesn't cover. With this current FDA, America will do better. So here's what I'm asking. Fast-track female dose testosterone under the new FDA Commissioner's National Priority Voucher. It meets all 4 criteria. Clarify and simplify regulatory guidance so companies can make cost-conscious medications based upon strong established safety data. Approve it for hypogonadism, not low desire. Work with the DEA to declassify low-dose testosterone for women. The Olympic doping scandals of the 1980s shouldn't dictate hormone access in 2025. Testosterone is the most abundant gonadal hormone in the body, and women deserve access. The science is solid, and the need is undeniable. Picture 108 million women, energized, focused, and ambitious, not in spite of their age, but because they are supported through it. That's the country that we want our children to grow up in, and it's time for the FDA to act. Thank you.
Dr. Casperson shared some striking claims. A 2025 study showing women given testosterone were 50% less likely to need a cane or walk 6 months post-hip fracture. She shared that testosterone is critical for mitochondrial, nerve, muscle, bone, and brain health, not just libido. She shares that higher brain testosterone correlates with less dementia. And testosterone might help women. She also shared that testosterone might help women stop SSRIs. 5 countries have approved female-dose testosterone, but the U.S. hasn't, despite millions of women needing it, according to Dr. Casperson. Those are powerful claims, but what does the science say? Let's break it down. A 2025 study showed that 50% were less likely to need a cane and hip fracture. On the surface, that sounds incredible, but there was a large randomized controlled trial called the STEP-HI, published in the JAMA Network Open, that found something different. Adding testosterone gel to supervised exercise did not improve long-distance mobility beyond exercise alone. It did show some positive effects on short-distance mobility and reduce the use of assisted devices, but no substantial functional benefit for the 6-minute walk test. That's a key mobility measure. Bottom line, exercise remains the proven path to recovery, and it's unclear whether testosterone is a standalone miracle drug. And I'm sure Dr. Casperson also knows that this is not something you would use just by yourself. It's incorporated into a healthy lifestyle with getting back on a structured exercise program to help optimize your recovery. The second claim was high brain testosterone correlates with less dementia. She referenced an autopsy finding linking higher testosterone to lower dementia risk. There is epidemiological support suggesting low testosterone levels correlate with poorer cognition and higher Alzheimer's risk, especially in women, with effects possibly moderated by the ApoE4 genetic risk factor. Researchers have also found ApoE4 carriers. Lower testosterone levels are associated with higher tau protein, a key Alzheimer's biomarker, and adjusting for testosterone eliminated sex differences in tau levels. So while the evidence isn't conclusive, there is a growing signal that testosterone may be neuroprotective, especially in genetically at-risk women. Claim number 3 was that testosterone helps women come off SSRIs. She mentioned some new data that some women were able to stop SSRIs when testosterone was added. Wasn't able to locate those studies directly supporting this claim. It's an intriguing idea, and we should consider also other co-occurring health conditions that could be going on that includes things like unrecognized restless leg syndrome and ADHD, which occur much more commonly in those who have chronic pain syndromes. And their last claim is FDA failure. Approved female dose testosterone. This is absolutely factual. No female-specific dosing for testosterone exists in the U.S. Despite existing male-approved formulations and decades of off-label use, prescribing testosterone to women remains legally and practically limited. So yes, the lack of access is a regulatory inequity that appears disconnected from scientific evidence. So overall reaction, Dr. Casperson points into real unmet needs. Women suffer major integrity, declines in mobility, mental clarity, and quality of life after menopause. Testosterone plausibly plays a role across multiple systems, brain, muscle, mood, yet current random controlled trial data is limited, mixed, and definitely not conclusive, especially for fracture recovery. That said, the neuroprotective and cognitive associated data are solid enough to justify further research, particularly trials that consider dose, timing, and genetic risk like ApoE epsilon 4. If you found this breakdown helpful, here's what matters. Exercise trumps testosterone right now for post-hip fracture recovery in older women. but emerging biology suggests testosterone's role in cognition and brain health shouldn't be ignored, especially for genetically high-risk women. The FDA's lack of female-dose testosterone access is a real equity issue, pointing to a gap between regulation and evolving science. Let me know in the comments below, should testosterone be FDA approved for women? And what other questions do you have? As always, hit the like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.